Let us return to the games, shall we? It is time for one of our Season 1 classic games, which has been dusted off. It's been fine-tuned and cranked up to 11, if you will, and dumped into a ball pit. It's an old friend with a brand new facelift. Smash the buzzer, everybody. All right. Now, everybody will play this game at once. I'll give a category and read a list of items that might belong or might not belong to that category, all right? As soon as I say something that actually fits the category, you jump up, you run through these balls, and you smash the buzzer and give me the answer, all right? If you are right, you earn 2 points and you get to eliminate an opposing player. It's a very cruel game. However, if you're wrong, you will be banished to the bar and your opponent will get your points. All right, ready? Let's do this, shall we? All right, everybody, here's your first category. It's a character on Sesame Street. Average bird, Cookie Mobster, Anna Klumsky, Oscar the Couch.
No!
Abby Cadabby. Wow! All right, Brent, what is it?
Abby Cadabby.
That is correct. Woo! 2 points for your team. All right, who are you eliminating?
Anna.
Anna! Oh! And so soon. Pull down your dress and have a drink. Atta girl. All right, next category, everybody, listen up.
Jane, you look fantastic in this poor...
I look like the Crazy Eyes in this, don't I? I'm the new Crazy Eyes.
Welcome to Hollywood Game Night.
Thank you. Look at that. Would you go in that person's house?
I would.
Okay.
Looks like fun. Speaking of house, you guys kind of... Hollywood Game Night. Everyone loves Hollywood Game Night, right? Amazing.
Okay. Please love Hollywood
I was
Game
saying,
Night.
you guys kind of jump-started this whole celebrity game show, you know, what could we call it?
Revival.
Yes.
From like the 70s, when I was growing up, the big, well, they were on during the day, like Match Game and, oh God, I can't think of one more. Well, the Pyramid, Hollywood Squares, they were all big game shows, and then they all went away, and now they're coming back with celebrity hosts, and I think we can probably credit me for the revival. Thank you.
Yes. Woohoo!
Thank you so much.
It's so much fun. But you know, it's kind of, you guys are changing it a little bit.
Yes.
It has like a backyard feel, like as if it's in your home.
Indeed, yes. Many people, believe it or not, have asked me, they really shoot that in your house, don't they? I was like, absolutely not. No, that's not my house. I wish my house were that nice. We have a backyard this year, and it's filled with lush AstroTurf. And my swimming pool is filled, as you saw, with balls, and just like Chuck E. Cheese. So it's like grown-ups jumping around in the ball pits at Chuck E. Cheese. And we do games that are a lot more physical. Like we have one called Get in My Pants. And yeah, baby, very adult. We force the celebrities to wear huge pants that have a name of a television show in the front. And they, when they hear a clue that corresponds to their show, we shoot these balls into the air. So you have to catch the balls in your pants. There's a lot of adult double entendre.
A lot of balls this season.
A lot of balls, yeah. Exactly. And then there's one called Hold My Balls.
Really?
Yep, that's a real fun one as well.
So the theme is just balls.
It was, and the season before it was box. It was a lot of box games.
So what is your favorite game this season particularly? What has brought out the laughs for you?
Oh my goodness. Well, the smash the buzzer in the ball pit is hilarious because it's not easy to move in that ball pit. I mean, you really do have to dive, and it's funny to watch people get all out of breath. There's one, what is it, where we have the play it in reverse, back it up, I forget what it's called, but we have this huge turntable in the backyard, and we play pop songs backward. And it's interesting how easy they are to identify and how some aren't. So you hear them backwards, and you're on the whatchamacallit, what do you call the thing? Turntable. It's a huge turntable. And it's moving you backwards as you're doing this as well. And then you have to, and a lot of women wearing the heels have fallen on their faces, which it wasn't fun. And then you have to hit the buzzer and guess what the song is. So that's a great deal of fun.
Secretly fun to watch people fall, though, right?
Yes, exactly. Oh, and then we have a game called Nice Package. Honest to God. So, yeah, there is a theme, and where we have objects on a conveyor belt, and people have to put them in a kind of like Lucy and Ethel with the chocolates. It's kind of that sort of a thing.
Do you have any say in the creation of these games every
No,
season?
thank God, because I have no good ideas. But we have a crack team of game players and makers, and so we always have more new games than we could possibly use.
So this season, too, you're teaming up TV show casts against other TV show casts.
Yes, tonight we have The Walking Dead versus Veep, and we call it Zombies versus the Government. So we have three.
Kind of like what we all are now.
Kind of what's
right?
going on now, in a way. So we have the three cast members from each of those shows, and then one civilian sitting on the couch with them, and they go at it. And then I think then either next week or the week after, we have This Is Us, the cast of This Is Us with Superstore, and we have Orange Is the New Black. I forget who they play against, but yeah, so it's kind of fun. We got some casts together to come at the at the same time and play together.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Has there been a standout contestant for you? Minus the civilians, no one cares about the
Right.
civilians.
Yeah. Well, that Brent was pretty damn good, and I must say the civilians we get are awesome. We have great bookers, and they just pick the coolest people. But Chris Hardwick is quite wonderful. First of all, one of the nicest guys in Hollywood. We were playing this game where you get a thing of popcorn shot into your face when you answer a question incorrectly, and it's usually you deserve it because it's an easy question. And so Chris knew that our civilian answered incorrectly, and he jumped in front of her and took a face full of popcorn for her like a gentleman. And so I really like him for that. But he's also he's not competitive in an awful way, but he wins everything. And also Yvette Nicole Brown has been on 5 times, and she's on 2 times this season, and she's amazing.
I gotta come on.
Oh, you should.
I'd
It's
be
so
a
fun.
regular civilian.
Yeah, you would, but you'd be, like I said, the coolest people are the civilians. Yeah.
So fun.
Yeah.
What is your favorite part about hosting Hollywood Game Night? What makes it special for you?
It's like throwing a party. It's so much fun, and then I get witty little jokes written right into the teleprompter. And what I love about throwing parties is I love inviting lots of people. Not a lot. I don't like thousands of people, but I like inviting people to my house who don't know each other. And nothing pleases me more than when I see someone off in a corner with somebody they just met 5 minutes ago, and they're having a really deep chat. So that kind of happens, very much happens on Hollywood Game Night. Is people meet for the first time, and I'm including the civilians in here, and a lot of people meet for the first time, and they're they become friends, and they're on the same team together, and so that's a lot of fun to watch that. And also, my job, the show almost hosts itself. Don't tell NBC that. Because it's really a matter of stepping back and allowing the magic to happen, and it will, because people come ready to play. Everybody's game. Everybody wants to have a good time. Everyone's down with it, and if you want a drink, we give you a drink. So it's we make it easy, and they're really fast to make. Takes anywhere from about an hour and a half to 2, sometimes maybe 3 hours if we have glitches here and there, or if I screw up a game. And we have to toss it out, which has happened. We make it a lot of fun and fast. And basically what you see in the show is what happens during the taping. We rarely edit anything out.
Yeah, so no bloopers you can tell us about?
No bloopers. I will say some people, we've had more than a couple incidences of people having a little too much to drink, where we have had to cut around them.
Yeah.
Yes.
It happens.
It happens, and also we don't do this anymore, but we used to, as soon as their drink got low, we were filling it up, which was not smart. Not
just keep it low.
Yeah, give them one, and because they're, you're nervous and you think, or you're having fun and you're not aware of what you're doing, and they're chugging these drinks, and we had some drunken instances where tears involved too.
The Bachelor?
I know, right? We had a couple of episodes that resembled what has been going on with The Bachelor. And I'm embarrassed to say I know exactly what's going on with The Bachelor.
Well, celebrities, they're just like us, guys.
Yeah, right. They get drunk at parties just like us.
Well, you make it look easy. You've also won a few Emmys for this.
Oh,
Can we give her a round of applause for Emmy?
Thank you.
Because you might be one of the only female hosts that has won the Emmy for Best Reality TV Show host.
Yeah, I think
you are.
Am I the only? You know what? I think I'm wrong there. I think the Top Chef won. So yeah, I think.
Padma.
Yeah, Padma.
Or Heidi. Heidi won for
Heidi
Project
Klum won, and Padma Lakshmi. I think she won, or perhaps I beat her. I don't know. You'll have to ask her. I don't pay attention to those things. No, that is true. And we were talking about this in the green room that. A Hollywood Game Night might have started this revival, but there's still no more female hosts. I'm the only one. Yeah, and there's just kind of an inability to open up the mind, I think, to females hosting things. And I think the same thing, with late night. Thank God Samantha Bee is there, and she's doing such a great job. And I love what the guys are doing. So I have a hard time, like saying, why did we have to go across the pond to get James Corden? Because he's awesome. He's really good. So there you go. Trevor Noah too. He's wonderful.
Yeah, they kind of bring what Graham Norton had too.
I love
in the
that.
UK, which is so fun when you're sitting together. I love celebrities together.
Yeah.
As your show does.
It's funny. I noticed that the Graham Norton show, I think, seems to work better in England, that aspect of it, than it does here. I don't know what it is. I mean, you got to get the right people. Maybe it's the booze. Maybe they need to. But James is great, and he's always fun, and every once in a while you'll have someone who really thrives in that format. But I'd like to see the celebrities shake it loose a little bit and have a little more fun. Yeah.
So you would never host a late night show? Because I feel like you'd be great.
I'd love to. I'm a little long in the tooth, I think, and the wrong sex right now. But that's okay. If it were offered and looked like it was going to be fun, I will say that CBS did ask me to come in and pitch them something for late night before they got James Corden, and I went in with a dumb idea, and I kind of regret it. I said, it's late night. Let's just have like a 5-piece band, no studio audience, and maybe 1 or 2 guests, and maybe even people that, not celebrities. Maybe somebody who's just interesting, and their eyes were glossing over as I was telling them. And I wish I said, I have an idea. We'll do it like Graham Norton show, and I would be working on CBS Late Night right now.
With an English accent.
And I would fake the English accent for sure.
But it is a time to be a late night host because of everything that's going on in the world.
It is.
I feel like you'd be perfect for that, though. And
thank you. What though? The thing isn't because I tweet, and I'll tweet politically every once in a while, and you just got to be careful. For me, anyway, I'm not comfortable. I'd rather sit around and talk to people without a microphone about what I think is going on and what I'm afraid of, and. In a way, I don't want to get involved in that in a public way, but I'm really grateful. Like, I think Seth Meyers is he's killing it. He just stepped up. If you get a chance to see his closer look, which he's doing a lot more. It used to be once every couple of weeks, and now he's almost every night he's doing a closer look. And then he and Amy Poehler last night did an episode of Really? Remember that from SNL? That was so great.
So fun. And then you're also, you spoke a little bit about your politics, but you're giving back to the environment at least because you're doing this really cool Earth Live thing.
Oh, yes.
You're live streaming like wildlife.
Yes, this is amazing. This is National Geographic is a pretty amazing company. They've been around for over 100 years, and I'm really getting to know them up close and personal as we prepare for this event that is July 9th, and it's called Earth Live, and it's 2 hours. And we have cameras all over the world. It's a very ambitious project. They've been working on it for years. They've set up cameras all over the world, and Canon has come up with this wonderful new technology that can shoot in the dead of night and make it look like it's almost in the middle of the day. So we get to see what's going on in wildlife, and they chose these particular areas where the cameras will be set up very specifically after a lot of research and a lot of trekking around the world, and it's finally coming to fruition, and it's all in my hands. It scares the hell out of me. And that's going to be really exciting. 2 hours, and we'll be going from remote location to remote location, and I'll kind of be holding down the center there.
So you're not going to all these wild bouncing around from country to country.
I'm not. Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. What we'd have to have something the equivalent of the triple Concorde. Yeah, right. Yeah, space travel. So it's going to be an amazing night. Anything can happen. So that's National Geographic. Everybody make a note of that on July 9th.
Have you always been an animal lover or interested in environment? Protecting our
as I'm growing up, there was no word environment. We weren't concerned about it. We probably should have been. But what's great about this show is it shows that there's life on this planet that we're not even aware of, and there's happenings going on, and how we're all connected. And when you screw up one part of it, you mess up the entire balance. And Stephen Hawking's put this thing out. Saying we all should be thinking about leaving the planet because we've destroyed it and we should go somewhere else. Basically, he said within 100 years it's going to be uninhabitable, and he's a smart guy, so that's kind of scary. Yeah, and then of course we're not at all. There's no one in power right now who takes any of this seriously, so that's a real shame. But boy, the citizen activism is just on fire, and I'm really grateful for that. And we say? What can we say?
Well, wherever you go, I'll follow you.
No,
Where
God
are we
bless.
going, guys? Got 100 years left.
Yeah, I know. He was saying like the moon, Mars, should start figuring out ways to make it inhabitable. Yeah, I'll be
Got our
dead and
work
gone
cut
by
out
then.
for
So
us.
good luck. My best to you.
So you've been hosting a lot, but you've also, I feel like you've been on every single show that's ever been made.
Well, I've been doing this a long time, so I have
Yes.
an extensive list of guest spots on television shows for sure.
But the latest
But
one,
latest, yes.
somebody asked you, I think it was People, about Will and Grace.
Yeah.
And you gave a little bit, maybe
Well, I
you'll
haven't.
appear on
This
Will
is
and
terrible.
Grace.
I haven't even been booked yet. But this is the lingo in show business. Said put a pin in this date. I know Max Muchnick well. I've worked with him before, and he's the creator of Will and Grace. And of course, Sean Hayes is our executive producer. Eric McCormick was my boss on a show called Love Spring International that I did about 7 or 8 years on Lifetime. And I know Megan and Deborah for years, so it would be really lovely. It would be lovely.
Guys, give her a call. Hello, she's waiting. Well, it's good that you have those connections in Hollywood.
Yeah, you know, and that's what it is, really. I mean, I think anybody can say that in life. It's, you know, if you work with somebody once, and if it's fun and you weren't a pain in the ass, there's a good chance that they'll ask you to come back.
That brings me, of course, to working with Ryan Murphy, who is fantastic. Does everybody miss Glee? Because I miss Glee. What a wonderful show.
What a great show. It's one of those shows that could have gone on to not necessarily our cast, because they were getting very old. The kids were.
You could have stayed there.
I could have.
Teacher.
Yeah, but it would have. It's one of those. It's a format I think that you could just take it to another high school with other teachers, and I think, especially now, kids really need it. But there's a new show on NBC called Rise. With Josh Radnor and a bunch of kids. Is about a drama a department in a high school. So I think that's going to be a great thing for kids too.
So, but has Ryan Murphy called you to star in any of his other 5 shows that he's got going?
Not with
Amazing
a solid
American Crime
offer, just
Story.
teases. Yeah. The last time I saw him, he said, "Let's do something together very dark," and I would love to.
I would
Yeah.
love to see you in a American Horror Story.
I would
be
too.
That show is crazy.
Yeah, or at any of the feuds. Yeah, he's just really blowing it up. And you know who else is blowing it up? Who's a friend? Is Jill Soloway. She's the creator of Transparent, and she's been a friend since we were young, not kids, but young adults. And I lived with her mother for a while. In fact, when her mother and father divorced, I moved in with her mom into the basement. And 20 years later, he became Carrie. He became a woman. So that's where she got the inspiration. But she's just killing it. And so is her sister Faith. She works with her, and now they're doing. Is it I Love Dick? Yeah, I Love Dick. I thought it was I'm Into Dick. What?
Kevin Bacon.
And Kevin Bacon,
Yeah.
absolutely. Kevin Bacon and I Love Dick and Catherine Hahn. Who's an amazing actress. Yeah.
Transparent is just
Yeah,
incredible.
and Transparent's great.
So isn't it amazing, though, that there's all these platforms now that shows like that can be made?
Yes.
But is it hard for you to kind of decide
What to watch?
when projects come?
Oh, when
and
projects
what
come.
to watch, what to take on?
Well, I can't keep up with what's on, and it's all good. A lot of it, anyway. I mean, there's so much good, and it is because of all these different platforms. Network TV would never have done a Transparent. Network TV would have never done Mad Men and with the integrity. And in fact, I think they kept trying to replace Matt Weiner the entire time. They wanted to kick out the showrunners, and they're like, nope. Even the actor said, nope, you can't. So, network television isn't dead for sure. And they're really doing some good stuff, but it was cable that and all these other platforms, Netflix and Hulu and Amazon, that raised the bar.
It's so hard to pick. There's so much content. How do
Yeah.
you choose, what to watch? What do you watch?
I'm
when you have a
overwhelmed.
day?
I rarely watch anything, but I do love House of Cards. I thought Feud was amazing. I watched that in a day and a half. And House of Cards, I would have watched it in a day and a half, but what's going on in our own politics, to me, is a little more intriguing. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. I mean, what was it on SNL? One of the cast members says, I just want one day where CNN doesn't have a breaking news that makes me want to scream at the top of my lungs.
House of Cards is rivaling our actual real life.
From what I understand, I don't know if anybody's watched the whole season, but my friend has, and she said that, oh my God, it's almost prescient in terms of how it's kind of mimicking certain things that are going on now, and I don't know what those certain things are. So,
Let's go to happier notes.
Yeah,
you have
let's.
another show coming out though on Discovery Channel.
Yes,
correct?
Discovery Channel is now doing script. This is their first scripted show, and it's with Paul Bettany. It's called Manhunt. And Chris Noth, the Unabomber. It's about the Unabomber case, which is probably history, ancient history for you folks. But it was in the 1990s, and the Unabomber was a guy who was blowing up people like one at a time against the government, against technology. And his reasoning was kind of crazy, but he wrote a manifesto, and the FBI wanted to publish the manifesto in a newspaper in order for perhaps a family member would see it and recognize his style. But you're taking a great chance when you do something like that because it sets a precedent. Are we going to let every nut who is sending out anthrax letters publish their manifesto so we can find them? So it was a great risk, and it turned out to work. It worked out. They got him. Someone recognized it, his writing. It was his brother. And Janet Reno was the Attorney General at the time. And what an amazing person she was. Just independent, was heading up the Department of Justice. And I think, these days with the buffoonery that's going on in our politics, how Janet Reno would have handled being Attorney General, and I think it would look a lot different than it does today, a lot better.
Is that something that kind of drew you to take on this role in the project for Discovery Channel?
But like my politics, not so much, just an acting challenge. And also I was a fan of Janet Reno back in the 90s. I actually played her in a sketch comedy thing. I did a Run Run Rudolph with little Janet Reno dancers dancing with me. But it was kind of run, run, Rudolph, and I sang like Janet Reno. And then now I played her for real. And it was great. I got a hold of one of her best friends, a young man who used to work for her and also just ended up being very close to her. He's not a young man anymore. He's about my age, but we emailed a few times, and he really, and he loved her. He gave me some great stuff.
You're doing some great work. I mean,
thank you.
What's next for you? You got another thing lined up?
Yeah, I do. Well, I have and this is you young folks, and even not the young folks, if you'd watch it, this would be great. Well, I did a web series that I executive produced, and I also am in it. It's an ensemble piece, and it's about the dying of a soap opera called Dropping the Soap. And it's basically this soap opera is circling the drain. They're trying to stay relevant, and they're all afraid they're going to lose their jobs. And the network puts 6 real hard-headed executive producer on them to remake the show, and I play her. So everybody's watching their back and afraid they're going to get fired, and it's some of the best acting. We pulled in favors from so many wonderful people like Missy Pyle and John Michael Higgins, and just a lot of really funny people. And you can get it on Amazon Prime for free. You can buy it on iTunes and I think Google Play as well. It's called Dropping the Soap, and we're actively looking for someone to finance season 2.
Yes. Anyone here? That's great.
Thank you. You in the back.
In the back.
All right.
So I'm going to take some audience questions.
All right.
Right here. Yep.
Of all the parts you've played, what did you find the most difficult and why?
Well, Janet Reno, this is a person who lived, who was very well known, and I worked hard isn't the word, but I was quite thorough in my preparation for it. And I remember we had a rehearsal the day before. It was Chris Noth and myself, and we had this scene, and the director just wanted to see where we were at in our preparation, and it did not go well for me. No one said anything to me, but I felt like I was doing that Saturday Night Live character. I felt like I was doing Will Ferrell in a wig. And so I went home and I just kind of read the paper in her voice, and I found it. I found the voice. And then when I showed up the next day and we were marking for the rehearsal, and our director said, it clicked in for you, didn't it? And I said, yes, it did. Because otherwise I'd look, I have on a wig and the glasses, and I'm talking like this. And it was, but it really clicked in for me. I was
an SNL, Jane.
Yeah, I know.
It's hard, though. It's hard to play someone who's actually lived and who was a person that people are familiar with.
Yeah, exactly.
Who's next?
Do you think that things are changing in Hollywood as far as getting more powerful or notable roles for women, not only in movies but in television? As I read a couple of days ago that Gal Gadot got a very small salary for doing Wonder Woman contrasted with Henry Cavill. It got, I think, 5 times as much, which is hard to understand.
Yeah, it is hard to understand. And also, they were stupid enough not to sign the director to multiple movies now. The world is her oyster in terms of the negotiations for the next movie. I mean, she's going to do well. Yeah, I think so. I mean, yeah, I know so. You know, you drive down Sunset Boulevard in Hollywood, and it's one billboard after another, and it's all men with guns. All men with guns. And a woman behind him worried for him, you know. But that's why I love people, you know, like Amy Schumer, and, you know, she does her own stuff. And she made a crap load of money with that last movie, and I know that probably helped with this new one she's got out, which is very funny. And, you know, Amy Poehler and Tina Fey are producing a lot of content. They both are. You might not even know what they're doing, but there's a lot. Like Great News on NBC is Tina Fey, and Amy Poehler's Broad City, which enjoys cult status. You know, maybe not the biggest hit in the world, but it's hilarious and people love it.
Kimmy Schmidt.
And Kimmy Schmidt, of course, Tina Fey. Yeah, so it's, you know, I think the thing is we can't, you know, the screaming and yelling doesn't seem to work. And then, of course, there's like Jill Soloway. And then there's like Ryan Murphy, who's a feminist, basically. You know, he has pledged to have 50% of his crew, which is unheard of, to be female. Because if you've ever been on a set in Hollywood, it's all men, and they're great at what they do. It's not to demean them in the least, but he challenges himself. In fact, he said at this event I saw, he said, "If you know a female gaffer, please let me know," because he's got 12 shows going at once, and there's a finite amount of them, or finite amount of everything, I guess, but there aren't a lot of them out there. And so, you know, he'll give a woman a chance to direct who hasn't directed before. You know, it's just pretty amazing. He's an amazing.
Television is really the place now too for great women roles like Big Little Lies and all that.
Yes.
Movies have a little bit of casting.
You know what? You're absolutely right. Television is, not only are we in a golden age like we've never seen before in terms of quality of content, more women as showrunners, more women starring. Like, look at The Good Fight. I did a guest spot on that one that I just love doing, but that's Christine Baranski. You okay? You want some water? Okay. Yeah, sure? Okay. Yeah, so, you know, they're kind of killing it, and her two supporting actors are women as well. So it's out there, it's happening.
Great.
Yeah.
I think we have time for one more question. Here we go.
Hey, how are you?
Good.
My question is, do you take any of the aspects of a previous character and bring it to a new character, per se?
Yeah, I think so, yeah. You know, I always say I started working on Sue Sylvester way back, and where did I start with Sue Sylvester? Oh, back when I was doing a play, I one-person show, and I had this woman, this character named the Angry Lady. She didn't even have a name, and she wore the neck brace and, you know, finger splint and an eye patch because she was always getting hurt and suing people. And she talked like this. She was just angry. And I took that woman and kind of squashed her down and made her Sue Sylvester. You know, I kind of put that woman in the furnace, so it was always right there. Yeah. So yeah, I think so. They do, things bleed over for sure. And then of course, you know, if I get cast as kind of the same person, and I accept that, I always try to just consciously dig a little more to the left or the right, just so I'm not repeating myself. Because not only does it bore you, it bores me.
You never bore us, Jane, right? Thank you so much for being here.
Appreciate it.
We appreciate it, and we love the show. I can't wait. It's on tonight. So check
Crazy
it out.
Eyes.
Thanks, Jane. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.